Class 12, welcome to the online tutorial sessions for economics. I am Avnash Lambert, your economics guru, and today we are here to continue our fifth chapter, which is aggregate demand and related concepts. And we have started our third unit, which is determination of income and employment. In today's video, we are going to do the second part of this unit, which is aggregate demand. We have covered the aggregate demand and its components. Fine. Today we are going to start with the aggregate supply. Now students, what is aggregate supply? Aggregate supply refers to the money value of what? Of final goods and services. It is the money value of final goods and services that all the producers are willing to supply in an economy in an accounting year. They have not supplied yet. They are willing. Right? They are willing to supply that amount of goods and services in an economy in an accounting year. Basically, we are talking about the value of total output. What value of the output they are willing to supply in an economy, that is the aggregate supply. So basically, it refers to the value of total output available in the economy. This aggregate supply tells us that this much amount, if you know the aggregate supply, then this tells us that this is the amount which is the total output in an economy. Now, this total output, the value of total output is distributed among the several people. Like we give some portion to the rent part, we give some portion to the interest part, we give some portion to the salary and wages part, and we give some proportion to the profit part to the entrepreneurs. So if we add all those things, we can say that the value of total output means national income. Yes, which we studied the first unit of macroeconomics, the national income. Fine. Now we can also represent it as national income. Now let's talk about the components of aggregate supply. What constitutes the aggregate supply? So the components are consumption expenditure, which you have already studied in the aggregate demand. In the first video of this unit, in this chapter, you have already covered the topic consumption expenditure. So we have covered already this one. Now we need to study about the second component, which is savings. Fine, savings. Now, if you sum it up in a formula, we can say that aggregate supply is equal to, you can say, national income, and national income is denoted as Y. Fine. And this aggregate supply has two components, which is consumption and savings. So we can say that AS is equal to C plus S, or we can say that Y is equal to C plus S. Fine. So we have got this formula. Now, how is this consumption and savings a component of aggregate supply? Now, you have got national income. Now, if you have 100 rupees, what things you can do with that? Either you can spend that money in some consumption, you can do your expenditure on some consumption, and you can save that up. Fine. The only two things you can do with your income is consumption and saving. Either you can expend, either you can save. Fine. So if you have 100 rupees, most of you will go to the market and consume 80 rupees for the momos. You will eat it, you will consume it, and 20 rupees you will save for the next week. Fine. So that's how the components of aggregate supply works. Now, what is saving? Students, saving is the function of income. Saving is the function of income, and it can be denoted as S is equal to Fy. Now, function of income means the saving depends on the income of yours. Whatever income will be there, the saving will always be determined by the income. Suppose you have 100 rupees, you are saving 20 rupees. Now you have 1 lakh rupees, you can save 20,000 rupees. So from 20 rupees to 20,000, how it's coming? It's coming from your income. If your income is low, you will save less. If your income is higher, you will save more. Fine. So this is the savings, the function of income. Now students, let's make a schedule. Now, I have zero income. Now, at zero level of income, how much I will save? Zero. Right? Wrong. You've forgotten. During the income is zero when I was doing the consumption of 60. If you remember. At zero level of income, I was doing some consumption, which was autonomous consumption. But here, at the time of saving, there will be some saving, but in a negative part. Suppose you have zero income. Fine, your income is zero. But in the previous earnings, you have 200 rupees as your savings. Fine. You have 200 rupees as your saving and now you have zero income. But you will do some consumption. You will do some expenditure. So if you want to consume something, you are going to, suppose you are spending rupees 100. Now these 100 rupees came from your 200 rupees saving. Now your saving will become rupees 100 only. Because from those 200 rupees you have already expended that 100 rupees in your further consumption. So your saving is now only 100 rupees. So this 100 rupees which you have expended will be known as this saving. So here at that time you had 60 rupees as your consumption. So your saving will be minus 60, which is known as this saving. At zero level of income, there is always some consumption and there is always some saving. But saving will be in negative, in minus, because you are using the previous saving, which is being diminished now because you are already using that in the consumption. So your saving is becoming lesser and lesser. Suppose you have 200 rupees in your pocket and now you don't have any income. So you will use your pocket for the further consumption. Your pocket is becoming lesser and lesser. You had 200 rupees, now you have only 150 rupees. So it is called this saving. Your saving is becoming lesser and lesser. Understood? Therefore, this is the minus sign here and this is known as this saving. Now, the saving is also decreases, the saving also decreases in a or increases in a constant rate. If your income is increasing at a constant rate, then your saving will also increase at a constant rate. So, minus 60, add 60 to it, 0, add 60 to it, 60, add 60 to it, 120, add 60 to it, 180, add 60 to it, 240. So students, this is your this saving and rest of the other are increasing at a constant rate. I hope you have understood this. Let's draw the curve. We are using this same schedule. Now, at zero level of income, your this saving is minus 60. So this point will be below the origin. Suppose at this point, this is your minus 60. So your saving curve will start from below the origin. Below the origin. Fine. Your saving curve will start from below the origin, that is minus 60. Now, at 100 level of income, it was 0. So, now you need to join them, and because you already know 2 points, you just need to extend that line because the saving curve is a linear curve. It's a straight line because it increases at a constant rate. So just join them and extend them. So this is your saving curve. Fine. This will be a saving curve. This will be a straight line. Use a scale for that. Draw a straight line. This is your saving curve. Now at this point, your saving is equal to 0. Fine. Okay. And this portion this portion. This is your minus C bar, or you can call it this saving, or you can write it as minus autonomous consumption or minus C bar. This is also known as this saving and minus C bar. This saving is denoted as minus C bar. Autonomous consumption was known as C bar, and this saving is known as minus C bar. Fine. So that's your diagram. Now you need a specific formula for saving. Now mathematically we know that y is equal to c plus s. Y is equal to c plus s. And in the previous videos we have studied that c is equal to c bar plus b into y. You remember? So in this formula we can put the value of c, this one. So what it makes? It makes y is equal to c bar plus by plus s. Now I need the formula in terms of s. So I will keep this s at this place only, and rest of the things I will bring to the LHS. So we can write it as s is equal to y minus c bar minus by. We can write that? Yes, we can write that. Now I will shuffle them up in a way that it becomes minus c bar plus y and minus by. Fine. Now taking y as common, if I take y as common, it will become 1 minus b. So the formula of saving becomes minus c bar plus 1 minus b into y. So students, this is your formula. You need to learn this formula, and you also need to learn this formula also, because there are certain numericals which are being solved with using these formulas. So students, draw it. Take a screenshot and complete your notes. Make sure to complete your notes. Now students, this S is your saving, minus C bar is your negative autonomous consumption or dis saving. This 1 minus B, this 1 minus B is your slope of saving curve. Slope of saving curve, and this Y is your national income. Fine. And this is your minus C bar is your negative autonomous consumption. Fine. You can complete that. Take a screenshot and make sure to complete your notes. Still we have something for today. Now let's come to the further topic. Let's come to the further topic. Now we have to make a schedule of aggregate supply, and we have to draw a diagram of aggregate supply. Now let's start with the schedule. Now I have written the income as 0, 100, 200, 300, 400 and 500. Now always remember students that your income curve is always at 45 degree. Is always at 45 degrees. So whenever you are going to draw your income curve, that will be of 45 degrees. Fine. Now let's start with the consumption. Suppose I have taken the consumption of, at 0 level of income, I have taken consumption of 60. Fine. Now at 100 I am going to take 100, and at 200 I am taking 140. I am increasing it by 40. Fine. It is increasing at a constant rate, that is 40 plus 40 plus 40, which is 180, plus 40 which is 220, plus 40 which is 260. Fine. So this is your consumption curve. Understood? Now let's draw the consumption curve. Consumption curve is starting from point 60. So let's start it with point 60. Now let's draw that. Fine. So this is your consumption curve. Understood? This is your consumption curve. Now let's draw the curve of saving. Fine. Let's start the saving. At saving, I am taking at zero level of income C bar. At zero level of income, what will the supply? Minus C bar. Understood? If your consumption at zero level of income is C bar, then your saving at the zero level of income will be minus C bar. Fine. So your saving curve will start from point minus 60. Understood? From minus 60 you are going to draw your saving curve. Now if saving at zero level of income is minus 60, then at 100 it will be 0, because now you are taking 60. Fine, you are taking 60. Now at 20 it will be again 60. At 300 it will be 120. At 400 it will be 180. And at 500 it will be 240. You can take any number. I have taken gap of 40 and 60. You can take any number. Fine. But make sure there are few points which you need to show. So make sure to learn this schedule only. Fine. 40 and 60. The difference will be 40 and 60 for our convenience. Fine. So this is your saving curve. Now you need to draw your saving curve, which will be starting from this point. Fine. Now let's draw our saving curve. So students, this is your saving curve. Do not intersect it. Do not intersect the consumption curve and saving curve, but make sure that they are going to intersect in future. Fine. Do not intersect in the diagram, but draw them like they are going to be intersecting each other in the future. Don't intersect in the diagram. So students, in the diagram you can see that this is your saving curve, this is your consumption curve, and this is your income curve. Fine. Now you need to draw your aggregate supply curve also. Now aggregate supply. How do you calculate aggregate supply? What is the formula? C plus S, consumption plus saving. If you add your consumption and your saving, you will get the aggregate supply. Now let's complete the schedule. Consumption plus saving. 60 minus 60 will be 0. 100 plus 0, 100. 140 plus 60, 200. 180 plus 120, 300. 220 plus 180, 400. 260, 240, which is 500. So students, this is your complete schedule of aggregate supply. Fine. So this is your complete schedule. Fine. You can draw lines also to make it look more good. Fine. So this is your schedule. Now you need to draw the curve of aggregate supply. But if you notice that income is equal to aggregate supply, the values of income are exactly equal to the aggregate supply. Exactly, because I taught you in the previous in this video before that aggregate supply is equal to income, and this income is equal to C plus S. Therefore AS is equal to Y. Therefore these are the same points, and the curve, this Y curve, which is income curve, is also the aggregate supply curve. Fine, which is C plus S. Now students, I want you to draw this diagram and draw this schedule. Now, after drawing this, you need to understand a new topic which is break-even point. Students, let's understand the break-even point. Students, break-even point is a point where consumption is equal to the income, where consumption curve intersects the income curve, the consumption curve and income curve intersect each other, and also at that point, at that level of income, the saving is zero, then that point will be break-even point. When consumption becomes equal to income, that is C is equal to Y, and saving is zero at that moment, then that point is known as break-even point. Now students, see this point E. At this point, the consumption curve and the income curve are intersecting each other. That means at this point, C is equal to Y. C is equal to Y. And if you notice this, that C is equal to Y. Understood? Now, if you notice that, if you extend this line, you will see that the saving curve at this point is 0. At point E, C is equal to Y, and at the same moment, at the same level of income, the saving is 0. So students, this point E is break-even point. Is that clear? Now, this is the break-even point. Now students, write down this one and note it down this point. Now, I hope you have understood each and every concept of aggregate supply. You have understood how to make the schedule, you have understood the diagram, and you also understood the point which is break-even point. You have understood the aggregate supply, that AS is equal to national income plus is equal to C plus S. You also studied about the components which is consumption expenditure and the saving. You understood what is saving. Saving is the function of income. The formula was S is equal to function of Y. You also derived the mathematically formula of saving curve, which is S is equal to minus autonomous consumption plus Y into 1 minus B, or 1 minus B into Y, which is the slope of the saving curve. Now students, you have understood a lot. I want you all to take a screenshot and take the screenshot of the previous portion of this video so that you can complete your notes by today only. Students, do complete your notes on a regular basis. Now students, see you soon.